Little echo.
What's up, people? The Room Podcast Wednesday night. Andy Kurzontkowski,
What's going on?
Tommy Shayhood, my man. Welcome to the Room Podcast again, Andy. You've been a frequent flyer here in the past, man.
Been a while. Love the new adjustments. Love the drum set. This has kind of been the Model T of New England MMA podcastery for a while, man. And it's good to see it's still kicking, still authentic, still very Dominicoed, and I love it. Welcome. Great to be back. We got a lot of fun stuff to chat about tonight, of course, but it's just always good to just hang out regardless, have some beer.
Yeah,
room.
Andy, you've
Always
been,
good kicking it in the room.
You've been here with a few guests. I mean, back in the day with Richie, you've had Chris Motino down here with you. Not only do you come, but you bring presents like people to interview, man. So,
Yeah. Well, this time it's just me. I'm sorry to disappoint. It's just long.
I'm all into it, man.
Yeah, but it's been a generation of this podcast, it seems. And yeah, those are back in the Rivera Athletic Center days when we were all fighting amateurs, and you see where they've come in their professional careers. Richie just retiring, and Chris where he's at on his run, and just, yeah, it's a long road, and just good to still be involved with the people that have been along the whole way. Your coverage and your guys' aspect of them, you've been a great addition. I don't think I've been back since you've been on, Tommy. No, man. So this is really a pleasure too, because I've seen clips, and you guys are always posting. You guys do so many interviews. You guys have everybody.
Nothing.
Yeah, cheer. All right, yeah, that's.
There you go.
Yeah, cheers. I'll take the Table Titans cue there. I like it. I'm feeling this is my off night. I get to be a little reckless.
Off night.
I have an off night.
What are we, 7 weeks from the next Cage Titans or so? You have an off night?
Yeah,
So
no. That doesn't heat up to like fight week. Fight week, it's everything is on hold. That's kind of where it kicks into gear for me when the suitcase is packed and I'm driving down to Plymouth getting ready for the press conference. And that's kind of when everything shuts down, and it is just go time nonstop until the sun comes up Sunday morning. The fights are done, and so yeah, we got some time. It's like the storms are brewing. All the matches, the matchups are getting made right now. We got some big ones that are already extremely exciting, but now we're in the stage of just kind of getting all the rest of the names that need fights, who's ready for it, who's going to be waiting for the next card, and that's kind of the chess game to play right now. And once that all starts coming to fruition, then it's time to start developing the story of fight by fight and how the card's going to play out, and it's slow.
He's not thinking of the card yet.
Oh no, I'm all over it, man. Yeah. Like I said, I'm back to work in the office, and the whole day I'm just in meetings today. I'm just like Sean Lally and Joe Giannetti. Holy shit, dude! What a fucking banger that is.
Out of left field, that fight came with too.
I wasn't really expecting it. I didn't think it would, but I wasn't surprised either. They're both.
Sure, not so surprising.
Yeah.
When you think about it, you say, holy shit, that makes total sense.
Mm-hmm. Who they both are as competitors, as fighters, where they are in their career. Lally wanting that championship, Lally wanting that challenge, never saying no to the toughest challenge possible. And Giannetti on the run that he's been on the past couple of years, bouncing back off of losing his lightweight title to jump back into welterweight. And it's just such a huge match for both guys at this stage in their careers where, and it's going to be exciting. It's a clash of styles where Lally's going to be forward the whole time trying to take JoJo's head off, and Joe's going to play that elusive game, and who knows, he could flash it up and throw switch kick knockouts, get the grappling going. Lally could change things up.
I love Lally.
They're both.
I'm like, and he's like, fucking like, Lally's like one of the first guys, professional fighters that I interviewed. I went to City on Tong to talk to him. And man, he's always been like a favorite fighter of mine, just because not only he's personable and he's nothing as ferocious as he is in the cage, but his backstory, everything going on there, and he's a all around great guy, and he's a terror.
Yeah.
Cage, and there's no quitting him. You gotta, you know what I mean? He had that fight where he dislocated his shoulder, and he's still swinging with it.
To this day, that is one of the craziest things I've ever seen with my two eyes. He gets up out of that Darce choke, and whatever happened to his arm, it just wasn't working. And he's still, there's a sequence where he throws an uppercut and the arm kind of just like, and he's still just trying to throw that left hook, just no quitting him whatsoever. Shedrick Good was just looking at him like, what? No, I'm not fighting a one-armed guy. Like, it's,
Hey, Nick's commenting on YouTube saying, Andy. He goes, was hanging with my Plymouth buddy, still talks about Andy, a fight week comedy show. Like, oh, did you have a comedy show? Like,
No, we haven't done one on Fight Week yet. I don't know if we'd have the time to squeeze one in on Fight Week, but I wouldn't be opposed to that. I mean, it would be tough. We'd like,
yeah, for you it would
for
be.
Friday night, I'm at the hall until the cage is as much as we can get done is done. Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. We can make something work. We can go back down to Main Street. I've done some comedy. I've done some comedy shows at Main Street, sports bar.
Right, yeah, I mean, fight. Good idea, but
wouldn't be opposed.
The fighters they're cutting weight, I don't know if they'll be able to come out and watch. Some of them will, but you know, there's a bunch of people staying that are family, friends that stay. That'd be something cool to.
I would not be opposed to doing that. I think we could definitely squeeze that in. If you guys would be down to show up, I could put a lineup together because I've been bringing some comics since I've been back in the comedy scene, bringing them around to the fights, and every single comedian. A lot of these guys, they go to like wrestling shows in like garages or VFWs, and like, oh, Andy does the cage fights. It's probably, and then they get the Cage Titans.
Like a fucking...
Pretty much every single. There's been 80% of them that is the best thing I've ever seen live in my life. Just blown away by it. One kid came and he was on mushrooms, and it almost inspired me. I was like, I might have to go to fights on mushrooms one of these days. It just seems like it would be a great time.
I've been to the fights on mushrooms, not necessarily. Yes, I have been to the Cage Titans. A little bit. Microdose.
No judgment from me.
Little tiny.
Microdose ain't nothing.
But I did go to Neff. Out of my mind with Jeff. Out of my mind. And it was awesome. It was fucking awesome. It was awesome. It was a blast. It was a blast. Jeff's cool to talk with. Jeff Clark, who is part of New England MMA and the boys. We've become good friends. Because kind of we relate. We take mushrooms and we get drunk together. So. There, you want the hat? It probably fits you. It don't fit me. So anyway, I got the Don Shanis hat on today because I've lost my hat in cleaning the room, and I don't know where it is.
Dude, it looks great, man. Looks great. You said you rearranged and everything. The drum set is all. I don't know if the people can see it, but
they can't see it. But I'll take a video later of everything going on because I just set this up today.
Yeah, tambourine Andy, and everything.
Andy, for like, I've been downsizing for like 2 weeks. And I've been trying to get rid of furniture. You remember I had all the chairs, stools in here. I've been trying to give stuff away to Goodwill. A couple of guys that rent rooms here took some shit. I got a load of stuff in there. I think I got umbrella lights and stuff. I'm just going to like give the shit away. And I'm getting rid of that. And I'm going to get another one of these gaming chairs for another guest. So we're trying to make it comfortable. And as you mentioned, I do have my drum set in here now because I'm getting in trouble playing at midnight. I do want to play at midnight or whenever I can because I'm here all the time, and so I think it goes all right. I mean,
it looks like it fits.
It fits. I was worried it wouldn't fit, but it does fit.
Who's getting in trouble? Who's getting you in trouble when you're playing at home? Neighbors?
Yeah, because you can hear it.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Fucking drums.
It's loud.
Yeah, tough to cover up that. Tough to muffle that. Living in tight quarters, that's...
Well, we did start off talking about Cage Titans, and Mike Polvere is calling in. I think I told him, 10 minutes? I think it's about time. Let me see if he's ready.
He'll be.
I mean, we have a lot to talk
about. He might be.
Oh,
yeah.
If he's not ready,
I don't know what fights I'm at liberty to disclose
we will
tonight. I don't know what kind of. I don't know what kind of beans.
I didn't expect any fights.
But I'm sure he'll spill a bean or two.
He likes to tell us stuff.
Miguel Sevason is that, how do you say his last name? Sevason? Sevasin?
Sevason.
Is it Sevason or Sevason?
I think it's just Sevason.
All right, he'll let us know. Mike Oliveira, Aaron Hughes, and I'm sure other people will
People
join.
watching, what's up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we're waiting for Mike, but
Yeah, he is like sneakily tricky. Miguel Sevason. I believe it's just Sevason, not Sevason. Nothing, no flavor to it. Just Sevason.
how's it? He had his pro debut. Did he have his pro debut? His
Yeah,
last
it's
card?
Oscar Vera. It was kind of a slugfest too, man. That was a 1 round scrap, and then he implemented the wrestling game, got the top pressure. I think he finished it in pretty much 3/4 mount. Some slugging elbows, and yeah, the last event he made his pro. Not the last event, the event before, not the last event.
Was that the one we were watching? I think I watched the last one at my house. We just kind of chilled and watched.
Oh, I
was-
watched the last one at a bar. My one of my friends' bands was playing, and I had fucking the stream going at the bar. It was fucking awesome.
Okay.
It was the one before that he fought.
Oh, I think that's Mike.
They run together and stuff. That it's like the real.
They all blend in at this point. We're going over like the whole year, and it's tough to remember what fights happened this year and last year. And
Monday you had you were announcing the end of the year awards.
yeah, and it's as thick of pickings for a year as we've ever had when it comes to this stuff. It's kind of just a fun one-off thing that we did one year, and we just had to stick with it and keep the ball rolling and give accolades to everybody that put in work in a calendar year. And this one was no different. I mean, the resurgence since we've been back, since the pandemic shutdown, has the output of fights. Every fight card
it's
after
crazy.
fight card has just been. We've had so many double headers, a couple of double headers at this point because we've had so many people that want to fight at the amateur and pro ranks.
The grappling as well. That's always good to put on.
Yeah,
Moy-
that's cool. They
Moy-
started off. They got the kids sometimes. That,
Oh.
that gets the crowd going. You know, what I mean?
Lakeville MMA always bring in
Yeah.
the young talent, and it's the best way to kick off the show. When those kids walk out and they're enjoying every moment, the crowd loves it. They always put on a great little scrap, the high energy, the little. It's
Those kids are
so
fighting
fun.
the shit out of us. Those guys are good, you know. I see these little kids training, and it's something ridiculous.
a few years.
Yeah.
In a few years.
When they're gonna be putting kids in chokeholds in the playground and things like that.
Yeah, that's the advancement of the sport. They're going to be on a different level when they're competing at the level that the fighters we're talking about are competing at today.
They started 3 at Triforce.
3 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure that the Jeffries kids were like rolling at that time.
I'm sure.
Mike Polvere is ready. If you guys are ready
do it.
for that, this gentleman. Let's get him. I put the camera in a new spot, so he's going to see a whole new angle in here too. See, that's the angle he sees. But he's not seeing Andy too much.
Oh, whatever.
I have to
He
move
sees
that.
me enough. It's
Yeah,
all good.
You were just with him, so.
You can see the back of my head if I'm looking at them. I can see that screen right there, so I'll look at that one.
What are you looking at? Oh, you can see that.
I don't have a phone. I'll be looking at it.
Nick said he just.
I don't even have Facebook on my phone. Oh, I can watch on YouTube though, right?
That's what that is, YouTube, yeah.
What?
I do have YouTube on my phone.
Nick's still chatting. What's going on?
Remember that.
Well, he said he was ready, and then
Give it a
I
second.
waited a
It's Polvere.
couple of minutes.
He'll call back.
Maybe like lounged out in his bed.
No, he said he was ready, and then I waited a couple of minutes. So he's like, all right.
Lost your window.
He was, yeah, exactly.
He'll call back. Yeah, he's go. I got some time. I got some time to brew. I got some writing to do and thoughts to gather and film to watch.
We know when Mike calls in, are we talking to him? He's gonna talk. Yep. Yeah.
It's
Thumbs up.
he's a motor. It's
Gift of gab is key in this industry.
oh, there's no doubt about it. And right in this stage where he's kind of in the creative stage of formulating the card, let alone all the graphics and all the accents that go with it in the build up and now is the real fun building block stage
Sure.
right now where
Yeah,
you've
you can
got
be a
some,
face.
some matchups that we got in the hole that we haven't announced yet and some that are one step away from being made, just one confirmation away, and then that we haven't even really skimmed the top of the amateur matchups yet.
Matchmaking always fascinated me in that sense because it's so unpredictable. You know, so many variables, so many things can happen. Things happen last minute. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I see his face. Mike, so much patron was drank this year. We double it
Patron.
next year. Patron. Sorry, I don't even know. I don't even. Patron.
Drinking
I don't
that
know what the
Patron.
fuck. I thought that was a new beer by Cage Titans. What the fuck do I know? What's up, my man? How are you?
Chilling.
Hey,
You hear
Mike.
me all right?
Hey, Mike. I think you're seeing a different angle. I tried to set up your webcam. The call-in's a little different.
What's up, Mike?
You can't see Andy. If you want to move that,
He
just-
sees me enough.
All
It's
right,
all
you don't
good.
want.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't have to
See
see.
me.
Andy
Yeah, he knows
at
what you
all.
look
All right,
like.
Fuck Andy. All right, let's get Mike. Mike, what's up, my man? How are you?
What's going on? How you guys doing? Sorry I missed your call. I was just trying to get set up.
Oh, what do you? Oh, you setting up to come on? That's what he's doing.
I can see Andy's hand with the Miller Lite.
Yeah.
He was trying to hide it.
Why?
Nah, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
Not a good place to hide it on here.
So, Mike, Andy started the show off talking, Cage Titans right away with Joe Giannetti. We know that was a major, major announcement by you guys. You had a Table Titans on Monday speaking about the end of the year awards. Man, what do you want to talk about, Mike? There's so much to talk about. Huge matchups. Two of you announced, main and co-main. I'm sure there's a lot of other things brewing, but what do you want to start off with, bro? It's been a big year for you.
Yeah. Well, actually, we just released a video probably about a half an hour ago in anticipation of being on your show.
What?
So we just dropped a video. We announced officially that Aaron Hughes versus Jay Kixenbaum
Whoa.
match is going down on January 27th, and then we announced welterweight title fight with Ozzie Martin taking on Cullen Johnson.
No
Brody
doubt.
McDougal's going pro, so who should be fighting for that vacant welterweight title? I mean, fight of the year candidate. It might even do. A lot of people saying it's going to win fight of the year, but it's a candidate. And there you go. So Cullen Johnson. Last time Nick Newell and his squad came up, they haven't fought for Cage Titans. Nick Newell fought on Cage Titans 2 and maybe Cage Titans 5. But now he came back last event with his school, and this was the first time his school's competed for us. And they went 3-0 on the night. And this is a great opportunity for his school to come back and fight for their first Cage Titans title.
Well, Andy, there you go.
That's
You
some
mentioned-
beans.
You mentioned
I told you he was going to
that
spill
Mike
a couple
will
beans for you.
Mike will be saying something, and he never disappoints, man. He's always got something to say, Mike. Mike,
Yeah.
big year, bro. Talk about how the excitement of and maybe grade the year or talk about the year, how it kind of matched up with the years previous. You know what I mean? How was this year for you, and maybe some high points of it?
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, overall the year was a success. I mean, it's hard to grade. I always try to it's like when you're grading cards, it's like which one's the best one. It's very hard for me to do, but I think overall it was a success. It's funny to hear us talk about just 2-3 years back when COVID shut everything down, and when we first came back on the scene, it was like, let's go as many cards, as many fights as we can get. And, now here we are. And I think we kind of finally got over that hustle and bustle of just getting fight cards, as many as possible. And now we're kind of following into our groove that we were pre-COVID, where our shows are spaced out, 8 weeks. Even for 2024, we have all of our dates, 6 dates every 8 weeks. So we kind of fell into our groove. We did throw that curveball with the doubleheader on March, the St. Patty's Day card. But I guess if I'm pressed, that was probably one of the highlights of the year, that doubleheader, day night doubleheader, Cage Titans. I forget the number of it. Shit. I'm wearing the sweatshirt, actually. The St. Patty's Day one.
That was in March of 23, so that's got to be
58.
58. I think it was 58.
If you guys say so.
Sounds about right.
So what makes that one special is that, or makes it a great one is that, number one, it was a doubleheader.
That's
We
cool.
had 17 fights during the day. And I believe, Andy probably would correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the first time at night where we did an entire pro main card, or entire card that was only pro fights.
Yeah, I do believe that was the real historic moment at the end of that was that the evening card. That was 10 full professional fights. There was no amateur action on that night card, and that is the first time. Even on the first doubleheader, there were a couple of amateur fights. I remember Mo Alkanani winning the lightweight amateur title on that nighttime doubleheader as a preliminary fight. That's how stacked that first doubleheader was. So the second time around, we were able to get that first all-pro card, which was a big deal at the time for sure.
Those were a lot of good fights.
Yeah, there was a lot of great fights. Number one, like, you know, we were talking about in our recap on Monday, but like as great as the fights were, Jacob Bone versus Ali Zabian, you know, then it gets followed up with Peter Barrett, Mokanani, and then the hold my beer moment. It's like Doomer and NFL. It's like, yeah, you were talking about these were the best Cage Titans fights, not just this year, like top 5 ever fights in Cage Titans, and then they went out and like topped it. The key, so at the end of a double header, you're expecting to be dragging ass getting out of there, and we're all like riding high off those fights or the last main and co-main event. So that was what sticks out to me. And then let's not forget that the fights that weren't. Matt Denning had the mental health issue where the day of the fight he just doesn't show up. I see. I can see your face, Steve. You're not here. You know, Pat Gilbride and Matt Denning were supposed to fight. Matt Denning had that mental health scare, and you know he didn't show up to the fight, so that fight didn't happen on that card. And then the main event with Luigi Vendramini and Joe Giannetti, where Giannetti missed weight, had to go to the hospital. That fight was canceled, which was the main event. So like going into that night card, it was like shit. We don't have the main event that we've been promoting, like would have been probably the biggest and most like prolific fight we've done with 2 ex-UFC stars or veterans going at it. Then we were losing out on the Gilbride versus Denning fight. You're like shit going into the nighttime card, and somehow it was overshadowed by the exciting fight. So that fight card was probably one that sticks out for me for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes fight cards work out themselves. Like you think, oh my God, devastating. You know, losing fights. You know, so close to fight night and on fight night. You know what I mean?
But it's nothing that we really haven't seen before. It's things that you've been doing this 15 years almost at this point. And I've been along for 7 or 8 of it, and this is stuff that has been happening since as long as I can remember being this involved behind the scenes. There's always these intangible things that are unpredictable that could go down at any moment, but
matchmaking, man.
Fights always deliver. It doesn't matter. It's whatever curveballs come on fight night. We're to pull up by the bootstraps. There's always some fighter to come and save the day, and you know whoever it doesn't work out for that night, we'll make sure we'll get them a fight later. We were able to get JoJo a fight, and hopefully Gilbride will be able to come back.
Hey, Mike.
I was going to give you some beans.
All right, here we go.
Oh,
Since we were talking about Gilbride, not announced, exclusively announced here on the room, Pat Gilbride will be making his Cage Titans return on January 27th. And just like Hicks-N-Bomb and Hughes, we are actually having a rematch. It's going to be Lionel Young versus Pat Gilbride. It's going to be a rematch. And this is a fight that Pat was kind of like, if you remember when they first fought, Pat was the undefeated pro, and Lionel came in and played spoiler and got that finish. And then he went on that 3-fight finishing streak, all the way to fighting for a title. Since then, you know, that kind of rejuvenated Lionel's career. And he went on a 3-fight win streak. He fought for a title. Since then, he lost that title fight, and he's lost a few since then. As for Gilbride, that was the start of a losing streak for him as well. So I think this is a perfect fight at the perfect time in both their careers. You know, Lionel wants a confidence booster, and, you know, fighting a guy he's already beat. That's why he wanted this fight. And as for Gilbride, he's always kind of felt like that was one that got away from him that he shouldn't have lost, and he's wanted it. So it didn't make sense a lot when Lionel was on his progression up going towards the title fight. But right now, it kind of makes a little bit of sense. And I think it's a fun fight for the fans in New England. You got 2 guys that are recognizable that always show up on fight night, and it should be a good fight. So there's your beans for tonight.
Oh,
Awesome, I mean, a lot of beans. There was, I mean, you mentioned beans right off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
But Mike, what
can.
to get back? He even cooked the beans for me tonight. to get back to the year you had, and speaking about how you guys progress each year and stuff. This year, I've noticed. I believe it's this whole year. You guys started the trend of getting these high-profile fights, New England fighters against New England fighters. Like, in the past, it wasn't happening. It was try to get everyone to the UFC or to the biggest stage. Now it's coming to, it seems like you guys started a trend of getting, New England guys that it's a risky fights for these guys. I mean, they're on the edge of making bigger promotions than maybe the UFC, and they're willing to fight each other and take a shot. I've seen you guys, really progressing this year with that.
Maybe I'm frozen. Maybe you're frozen.
Is he frozen?
Yeah, he is. He's frozen on that.
Oh, you're
no,
back.
he's back.
You're back.
He can't hear us.
Can you hear us? Hello?
Can you hear us, Mike? I don't know.
All right, let me
What's
call.
with the heartbeat?
No, he's hitting his, he's probably tapping. Yeah, he's going to call back.
That sounded like a heartbeat too. That's what I thought.
Is someone playing Dark Side?
Yeah, I think he was doing this. All right, let me redial. See what happens.
There he is.
Nothing but the best quality here in the room.
That's how it goes, man.
Yeah, I don't know if I lost him or
seen it all.
what,
Of course.
But it looks like it might be Dread. Are you there?
I froze at the wrong time, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if it's here or you, but it just looks like it's. I don't know if it's freezing out there. People let me know.
It's lagging a little on the YouTube.
Yeah,
there.
but I don't know if that's just might because that's on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But Mike, I don't know if you heard me, but I was.
Yes, I heard the kind of question, like the guys in, what kind of changed. I got to be quite honest. Like, I've seen some of the slack in the past that people kind of want to sling about matchmaking, and anyone that says it's so easy to play fantasy matchmaking on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram and say who you think should fight. Cool, yeah. We can all do that. But you actually have to get them to agree. Yeah. Like, sure, I want the number 1 and number 2 guy fighting all the way up and down the card, but it's impossible. Certain guys fight only exclusively certain promotions. Certain guys make more money because they're closer to one promotion, so they sell more tickets for that. Certain guys have coaches or managers who do go that protection route. Like, it's not like us as a promotion just decided, like, let's give everybody the easiest fights they could possibly get. We got to pitch the fights that we know that they will take because we're in a position that we have to put a fight card together. And what really changed recently is these guys are willing to take tough fights. Whatever happened, I don't know. It's nothing I've done differently. I can tell you that much. It's guys like Jack Congdon grabbing a microphone and calling out Trevor Goody. Like it's guys that are saying, "Don't give me the layups. I want a tough fight right out the gate." And they want to test themselves because I whatever it is that's going on in New England, I love it. It's making my job easier, but I can just tell you it's not anything that we're doing different. It's just the fighters willing to do the work and step up, and maybe the managers taking the kick gloves off a little bit. Maybe it's also the Contender Series coming into play because now you realize in the past, I'll take Manny Bermudez, for instance. It's like, this kid was 8-0, 9-0, 10-0, 11-0. It's like, what else do I have to do? And you're getting to 10, 11, 12-0, and you're still not getting signed. I think guys just thought they had to pad their record up so much to get this beautiful record, 12-0, with no losses. That's the only way to get the UFC. Now you see guys getting to 4-0, 5-0, with 1 or 2 tough fights, and then every year there's a Contender Series they can put themselves on. You see guys that have gone to the Contender Series, lost, and come back the following season getting on. You've seen guys with 5-2 records on the Contender Series. So I think that fighters know there's a little bit more definitive of a path, and the path isn't necessarily pad your record with 10 wins and no one can kind of see through that bullshit, and that's going to get you to the UFC. The UFC has said it multiple times to me. Sean Shelby's messaged me. It's like, take tough fights. If you're not fighting right now, guys that are contender series level fighters and beating them on the local level, then we're not putting you on a contender series fight if you're not even at least beating one or two of them at the local level. So I think it's really the fighters, and I also think that kind of straight line path that fighters can now see, because it was the great abyss before. It's like, what do I have to do to get to UFC? Well, get to 10-0 and have a beautiful record. That will get you there. That was the mindset. And I think now it's just a little bit more kind of carved out a little bit, and that's making it easy for fighters to be willing to accept and take tougher fights.
Excellent, my
Makes
man.
a lot of sense.
Fucking.
I mean, not to
question.
harp on it. Maybe if there's fighters watching, like, take a guy like Jack Congdon, for instance. You know, this guy, you know, he calls out Trevor Goody in his third pro fight. He probably knows that before July and August this year's Contender Series, if he rattles off a win, which he can't fight in January because he got injured, obviously, but he was about to fight Pat Casey. He wins that Pat Casey fight. He's at 4-0 with a really tough veteran on his record. Then he fights one more time before the Contender Series in July and August, and he wins. He's at 5-0, and he's a shoo-in for Contender Series. So, you know, those type of things happen, and I think it's really pushing these guys. So it's I guess that's it. I mean, there's nothing we're doing differently, and I wish I could take credit. You asked me a question, Tom.
It's lighting up. Yeah, it's lighting up. Yeah.
All right, it's lighting up. I'm over here doing the tech. I need Joe Leonard in here for me, Mike. I'm pressing buttons and stuff. I'm worried if everyone's mic's hearing, working.
I hear you guys all great.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Awesome.
Yeah, I can see the lights.
Yeah,
over
I got to borrow Joe Leonard and Nick sometime down here. But
There you go.
hey, Mike, before we carry on with Cage Titans, I really want to talk about Giannetti and that because Andy brought that up quick. But Andy is in the room again, and we've downsized here. We've taken stuff out. This is our 5th year in the room, and I'm loving it. I'm fucking loving it. Andy played us the drums early. Mike, did you know Andy played drums?
I did not. I mean, listen, Andy's a great talent. I mean, you see him singing the national anthem, which
Yeah.
it's like the last fight. I mean, dude, Veterans Day, he pulled out all the stops. He really crushed the national anthem last show. And I mean, yeah, man, he's got the pipes. It doesn't surprise me that he can play the drums. I mean, I didn't know, but hey, nice.
It's been a little while, but
Yeah,
set him
but,
yeah, how can you not?
off
He's
a
getting
little
a little
bit.
red over there.
I bet he's no Domenico on the
Hey,
drums.
let me tell you.
No.
Let-
There's
let-
levels to that. I'm like almost a blue belt in a lot of things. Like
Let me tell you, like, there's nothing like a drum set when like it's there and can I like when you sit
People
can I
love
just
it.
sit there and it ain't like a guitar. Oh, can I pick up the guitar? Like if you don't know how to play guitar and you walk in the room, you see guitar, you're like, oh, can I pick that up? If you don't know how to play drums and you walk in a room and there's a drum set there, you don't give a fuck. You just want to jump
wanna
on
hit
there.
the drums.
That
don't want to work.
So, Mike,
just
that was-
want to bang on the
that was
Did you
another-
touch my drum set? Name the movie.
Exactly. Step Brothers.
You're all Tommy. That's Tommy's. That's Tommy's lane right
Yeah,
there.
right there.
But Mike, we did bring the drum set in. We do have a drum set in the room now. I'm going to be interviewing and having musicians on and comedians and people that Andy might know in here down the line. So we're mixing it up
for
in the
sure,
in,
man.
in the
I'm
room
telling
podcast.
them all about you. I mean, you got this weird Rhode Island accent that hits you up. Just say yes. Go to the room. It's a great spot. Domenico will take
Nefarious
care,
characters.
But I just want to throw it out there. I didn't leave the fight game as far as still promoting fighters in the area. I just wanted to expand a little bit and fill my days up with chatting with all different parts, walks of life.
I mean, right here is the
You know
bread
what I
and butter right now. We're talking to
I
the
know,
Cage
I
Titans
mean,
guys.
Jesus
This is the way it is, you know.
We're spilling
I
beans.
love that you expand, and sometimes you get your feet wet and you start getting into the podcasting with the fighters, and then now you're dipping your toes into other avenues, and I mean I think you're going to find a lot of similarities between these types of people.
Yeah.
Andy's done some comedy nights at Coops, and these guys are just like fighters, and the way that they can promote themselves. I've had many conversations with Andy, like, you got to get these guys to kind of understand the process of marketing themselves and selling tickets to their shows and spreading the word on social media.
Their own
And
branding.
a lot of his comedian friends are like, it's new to them, it's foreign, but it's the same thing with bands. I've been asked to like help promote bands. It's like, you got to get out there, you got to do podcasts, you got to go promote. I know you feel like a loser, probably begging your friends to come watch your show, but ask your friends, sell them tickets, get them out. And that's how you spread the word. So like what we do in the fight game, what you do in the podcasting game with the fight game, you're going to find that's just going to translate over to these other avenues. And I think it's great because you're a great asset giving these guys this platform. And I hope they appreciate it as much as the MMA world has over the last. I know you've been in the room for 5 years, but you were podcasting before that, right?
Yeah. At the bedroom, my house, in my bedroom at my house and shit like that.
The bathroom.
But this setup, this very spot, the building that I always get on the second try whenever I come around here. Yeah, this has been 5 years, but you're definitely going to find a lot of similarities because you know how fighters, with all due respect, everybody that's willing to step into a cage has definitely got a screw or two loose. And it's the same thing if you're willing to go up and just talk with the goal of making a bunch of strangers laugh at whatever thoughts are in your head, whether you're a quirky, goofy comic or you're a dirty pun saying comic like myself.
Richard Pryor.
Like I just like raunchy, just not like Doug Stanhope's one of my favorite all-time comics. If you check him out, that's how my head works.
Hey, Mike, I'm gonna learn all about this because I'm gonna have some comedians in here, and
but they're all, with all due respect, off a little in the best way.
Of course.
It's punching lines and punching faces is kind of weirdly similar.
And putting yourself out there is
hard.
hard.
And you got to train. You got to go out and you got to put the work in.
Oh,
you got to go out every night and get your ass kicked on stage, just like getting your ass kicked at Triforce earlier. It's just you have to learn and get better. Next thing you know, you're killing it. Things are working and things are
reps,
honing,
reps,
drills,
reps.
So yeah. So
Hey,
What's favorite with the band? I mean, Steve, you were in the band scene before, and like you're getting your word out there, and it's like when you want to invite your friends, and then you got some band members that are like, I don't want anybody there just in case we suck. It's like, dude, suck it up.
That would be me.
Exactly.
It's like,
I tell them this. I say, listen, we're gonna suck. We're gonna suck at one point. Just do it. There's mistakes happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gonna suck. You're gonna go into a fight, and it's like you've been in fights before. I'm sure not everything went perfect in your undefeated career. You probably missed a couple of punches or whatnot, or got to now. Look at you. You're boistering like just pitch shutouts. Just like
I didn't miss shit.
You had a split decision. You went to a split decision, so you had to have lost a round or two. So it's like, but you don't pay attention to that. It's like it doesn't matter. It's nobody who's there.
Mike's like, I was undefeated.
Nobody who's there. They're all there just amazed that you're in the cage fighting or you're on stage performing or playing in a band, or nobody's going to know that you missed a note. Nobody's going to know that you missed a punch.
Exactly. Unless you're one of those people, unless you're a musician and them yourself who's just like, or a professional fighter, you're going to see like little mistakes,
But everyone's going to respect it.
As much as no one else will know, the fact that you know is what will make you great.
Yeah.
Because the fact that I hear people say that all the time to me. No one will ever know. And Andy says it to me. No one will notice except for you. And I'm like, yep. And that's why I'm going to perfect it and redo it. Because, yes, no one else will notice, but I will. And that's what's going to, what I like to take into everything I do. I don't care if no one sees this or no one notices it. I know, and I'm going to want to be perfect. I want to keep perfecting whatever the craft that we're doing. So, yes. No, not your friends aren't going to know that you missed that beat. But what's going to drive you to be great is, Steve, today, you might rack your brain over, what the sound levels were today on today's podcast.
It's bothering me right now, Mike.
Yeah, the end user right now is watching the podcast, not even thinking about that. But what's going to make you great, Steve, is that when you go home, you're like, all right, what did I miss? What button did I not?
You'll be tinkering.
You'll be tinkering, and that's what makes. Keeps pushing you. Don't just accept things.
I'm gonna go hire Joe Leonard this week somewhere. Fucking fine.
Craigslist.
One last thing about that, Mike. Andy did speak about, he's doing a comedy now, and he's in with that group, and they're coming to fight. So I mean, you're actually building, everything you're into. I mean, as far as like. They didn't know about fighting, and hey, come check out the fights. So
they love it.
I'm gonna have comedians in here, musicians, and I might get some fighters into music and comedy, and these these musicians and comics might get into some fighting because I'm going to be fucking talking about that. I can't stop.
It's mutual. A lot of the fighters and a lot of the Cage Titans community has been very supportive. Anytime that I throw myself on a banner, any show I've done at Coops or Main Street or anywhere, there's been coming out in droves from all walks, from fighters to fans.
Big group, it's a big community.
It's just a testament.
You'll be
to everybody
surprised
built.
how many guys might actually train, or some guys who might want to try stand-up comedy, or how many guys that want to sing in a band, or they might play instrument. That's what I always think is cool about, like, for me with Cage Titans. When I get to talk to these guys, and it's just like, all right, cool, you're a fighter. All right, we all know you're on Cage Titans, so of course you're a fighter. What else are you? Mm-hmm. Danny Jefferson's a firefighter, and guys like Joe Pomfret, who started Lozon School, was a principal in high school.
Wow.
Matt Gilbride's an engineer. You find all these crazy things and interests that these people have outside of fighting. And that's the fun thing for me with Cage Titans is getting to know these people on a level like that. And then I think it's also important to push that to the fans. Like, cool, I play the drums. All right, that's fun. But, like, I'm also a human being that does this. I'm a postal worker. There's people that might watch you just because they relate to you because they were a postal worker like you. Or maybe they just want to kill somebody and they can relate to you as well.
Hey, Mike, it's funny. I am on a couple of postal group pages, and that they do love my memes. I'm like killing them right now about the postal Christmas memes.
The memes are always
going
postal.
postal.
Domenico.
Talk
All
about
right, hey, Mike. All right, so let's get back to Cage Titans. Andy started the show off talking about your main event, Joe Giannetti against the unpredictable one, coming out of the darkness. No one thought of this fight. I mean, we, as far as us, me, and other media members. I don't know. Am I media? Whatever.
yes.
They never would have put this fight together. They thought maybe Joe was probably going to go back to 155 after this fight, and then Sean Lally is on the table, man. Talk about it. How'd this come up? I mean, who? It had to be Sean Lally that came out and said, "I want to fight." And tell us how it came about.
Well, it's funny. So Lally's been a guy that's he's fought exclusively Cage Titans besides the Contender Series, but he's always notoriously been a guy that no one wants to fight. Like, he's the boogeyman. Like, you mentioned Sean Lally. He's got that crazy knockout power, military veteran. Like,
Jacked.
kid's always chiseled. Guys are just like, yeah, I'm not really signing up to do that. Because you're going to get hurt. Like,
Mean looking.
yeah, there's guys that you're going to fight, and it's like, all right, cool. Worst case scenario, he's going to take me down and dry hump me. Or I might get submitted. Lally, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah, you're
Kind
gonna
of
get
like Mike Perry, who's blowing up with bare knuckle. It's like, you're going to get hurt in that fight. You might win, but you're getting hurt. And Lally's kind of been that guy. So, after COVID and after his, he went to the Contender and all that, he's taken this platform and really exploded in the personal training field. And I believe now he owns a Title Boxing, and, so he's really been focused on that. We tried to get him post-COVID. If you remember, he fought Billy Goff. And Billy Goff was victorious and then went on to the UFC. Then we tried to bring Lally back one more time, and we had some issues finding opponents, dropping out. Then finally got Matt Denning, who had that finger break weird thing happen. And if you remember that fight, the Boston Bruins were there, Patrice Bergeron and a couple guys, because Lally's training a lot of those guys in the offseason. So essentially, we kind of always, me and Lally always talk, he always ask me questions about business, and we always have a good mutual respect. And he said, you know what? I might be the type of guy that rolls out once a year and just kind of fights, keeps my name out there in the fight world to kind of help my personal training business and kind of continue to build that. Because that's, he has a family now. He's married, has another kid. So that was kind of the talk. Oddly enough, we were trying to put a match together with him and Pat Casey earlier in the year. And he came to the show, and the whole thing was he was going to fight Pat Casey, and then something happened, so Lally couldn't. And then Casey ended up fighting somebody else, but Lally was there, and we were going to bring him in the cage. Casey actually lost.
Was it
So-
against? It wasn't against Sam Watford.
Sam
was it?
Watford.
All right.
Yeah, so Casey lost, so it kind of like crumbled those plans. Then I offered him Montreal James. I offered him like a couple other fights, and he's like, you know what? The Casey fight kind of interests me at like this point in my career. Like, I'm kind of retired unless it's a fight that kind of gets me excited. So, that fight didn't come to fruition. I tried to throw a couple other ones at him, and he's just like, I can't get up for that. So when we put together, it seemed like we weren't going to have Lally for another year. He said, you know what? I'll talk to you next summer if I'm going to kick the tires and try to fight next summer. Joe Giannetti stepped in and took that fight against Pat Casey. And next thing you know, Lally messaged me like that week and was like, listen, I'm down to take the winner, whoever fights. That will get me excited. And whoever wins, I'd like to fight. And there you go. Giannetti pulled out the win. And, I kind of threw it at Giannetti. I said, listen, man, we could set up a fight with you and Nate Williams, who's beat Don Shanis and he beat D-Sab at 55, or Lally's interested at 70, even though you said you don't want to defend that belt. And Giannetti said, let's go with Lally. I want to eat during the holidays. If you can assure me, even if though it's at 170, if I get a win, it's still pushing me forward towards a 55 title fight down the line with Dufort. If he doesn't get signed to the UFC, this was just kind of a dream matchup, that it just, and when Sean Lally asks for something, I'm not going to be the guy to tell him no. It was just like, if you want it, my man, let's do it. I think his body of work speaks volumes.
No doubt.
His last three fights that he's lost, one was the Billy Goff, who's in the UFC. One was the Chris Curtis, I think he might have been top 15 in the UFC. And then the other one was to Cameron Lachinoff by split decision, who was on the Ultimate Fighter. So like he's proven over the last 10 years that he is the upper echelon at 170, and he holds our middleweight title. So this fight for me is kind of one of those dream matchups. It's a shitty matchup also to make because you got love for both guys, and unfortunately somebody is going to go home with the L.
Yeah, that is the only downside to this matchup.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
When you look at just how exciting it's going to be on paper and just knowing them and the heart and skills they bring, it's top notch main event to kick off 24.
This is a huge step and statement that Joe Giannetti can make. I mean, if he loses his fight, he still has the 155 that you talked about, getting that rematch or in the future. But if he wins this fight, I mean, he has options, and he has,
more clout.
Yeah, I mean, and he's on a streak, and he's going up a weight class, and he has options as far as where he wants to fight. If he gets a call up at not necessarily the UFC, a good paycheck somewhere, on bigger eyes. I mean, that's what he's looking for. I think. Do you think Joe Giannetti's mind has changed? I mean, he wants to get to the UFC. He wants to get that. But do you think he's opened his mind up to different options other than just the UFC as the goal right now? Like, what do you think is going on with his mind? Because he's taking a big shot here, taking on, Sean Lally.
I think the goal is still the same for him. If you hear him talk, in my talks with him, even after that Dufort fight, this kid's, he's not deterred. He took, I think though the Dufort fight stung, to lose like that, because that was that fight that was like, all right, you win this, you're in the UFC. I think it kind of was a blessing in disguise coming back and having that viral knockout over Pat Casey. Like it kind of quickly erased it. We didn't totally erase it, but it was a solid victory, and he did it in devastating fashion. And that's ultimately the UFC wants to see finishes over guys that are good and talented fighters. If he could get a finish over Lally, though it's at 170, maybe springtime a quick drop back down to 55, and he's sitting pretty. I mean, if Dufort is going on to the UFC. That vacant title's there at 55. Maybe he goes recaptures it. Maybe he takes one in the meantime. I don't think he's deterred at all. He's still only, I think, 27, 28 years old, something crazy like that. And this kid's still young, 15-5. 17-5 doesn't look bad if he rattles off 2 wins.
Yep.
And a win over a Dana White Contender Series vet. The win over Pat Casey, who's been a perennial, top 5 in New England. There's some things there. And as for Lally, I think for him, he sees that Giannetti has, kind of the juice. If you guys are a little older like me, but the Tupac movie back in the day got the juice now. He's like, all right, Giannetti's got some eyeballs. Let me come in and snag some eyeballs if I can pull off this victory. And I think Lally's kind of not on that like, hey, I'm going to the UFC path, but he knows that his bread and butter's here in New England with his business and his personal training and all that. So I think this will be a nice feather in the cap to kind of keep his name relevant and big, and he'll be able to piggyback off that success in the cage and his personal life as well. So, man, it should be a good one, I think, honestly. And I saw Keegan Horsher. I hate bringing his name up, but I see him always shitting on stuff. It's like, Keegan.
Did he shit on this? Wait.
Oh, he shit on this fight. He shit on this fight.
Oh, my God.
It's like, listen, here's the deal. At the end of the day, for 13, 14 years, ago when I started this company, like, this is just, if somebody ever wanted to argue me this fight, it's just like, I want to see this fight and I write the checks.
Yeah.
It's like, I write the checks and I want to see this fight. So if for nothing else, if Giannetti lost 10 fights in a row and Lally lost 15 fights in a row, I want to see this fight.
Yeah.
And guess what? I have a promotion, I have a cage, I have a venue, and I have checks that actually cash. So I can put the fight on it.
All right, Mike. Not to stay out. One of his issues with the fight. What is his top issue with the fight?
He just said, he's like, oh, come on, Lally. He's 1-4, and his win was against Denning, or 1-3 in his last 4, and his win was against Denning. But that's why I think I told you at the beginning. Number one, I don't talk about fights that happen on paper. I don't care if he's 1-3. He lost to Goff, Chris Curtis, top 15 in the UFC, and it was 1-1 going in the third. And he lost to Cameron Lechenov, which was a split decision. Those, kind of like Ozzie Martin, who's fighting for our Cage Titans welterweight title. Yes, he lost to Brody McDougal. That was a fight that, he might have lost on the school, on paper, but he won that fight, in different levels. Mm-hmm. So, that was his problem. Elon Musk is big in the with the memes right now. Just throw that over my face right now, Steve. Fuck off. You don't like it? Fuck
I fucking love it, Mike.
Go fuck yourself.
Right, that's right.
All right, I got
Go
Mike
fuck
fired
yourself.
up. All right, Mike. Let's move on to your co-main event. I don't want to keep you here all night, but you know how getting this guy off the phone, but
it's an exciting fight as well.
Yeah, you have
didn't
Mitch
even touch on
Raposo taking on Mr. Valentin. This fight, I think, was in the talks earlier, and Justin couldn't do it for maybe some personal reasons. I think family issues or whatever. But and then Mitch's fight fell through the night of the last card where he's gonna fight for that title. But here we are, the original matchup that we all want, number 1, number 2 in New England. How excited are you that you have this fight? And is this Justin Valentin's first time coming to Cage Titans?
I think we've had talks of him fighting when he was an amateur for an amateur title. My memory is, listen, I used to remember everything back in the day. Now it's like, I think it might be his first. His sister or his cousin Erica has fought for us. I'm not sure if Justin has fought for us. Either way, so you're correct. He actually suffered a knee injury in his last fight, and he thought it would be healed in time to fight. He was going to fight Mitch in November. The week of the September show, when we were going to bring them in the cage and announce it, he was back to train, and he was just like, hey, listen, man. His coach has said, Justin's never going to pull out of a fight but we've been watching him go hard. His knee's not 100%. We're not putting him in there. I'm sorry. If Mitch will wait till January, sign it now, or we'll just change the date on the contract. Unfortunately, Mitch was like, listen, time's of the essence of me.
Yeah.
He wants to get back to the UFC. And he's like, I'm not sitting around waiting for anybody. Like, you know, I want to fight, and I'll fight him afterwards if I'm still around. We all saw what happened with Cleveland McLean. The fight fell through on fight night. It's just another thing in 2023. We talked about the main event falling off with Giannetti and Vendramini, and then Denning not showing up on fight day for Gilbride. Another crazy fucking weird thing that happened, and McLean gets 104 fever in the back room, you know, before he started warming up, and that fight was pulled. But either way, Mitch once again said,
Uh-oh.
What did Mitch say?
Froze again.
What did
Get him
Mitch
out.
say?
Well, I'm sure Mitch is down for this fight because it's signed, sealed, and delivered.
Mitch
Alright,
said
We
yes.
got another title
We're
fight.
going to do this again. We're going to take off from Mitch.
Mitch says.
I don't give a fucking rat's ass.
Mitch says he wants to fight Steve
Oh,
Domenico.
wait a minute. Where are we? There we go. We're back.
yeah.
It might be me. It might be.
Yeah, but either way, like, you know, Mitch was like, I'll fight anybody. I don't care who it is. Like, I want to be the double champ in New England. I know I'm the best in New England. And hats off to Valentin, because like Mitch is 7-1 or 8-1. Valentin's 4-1, 4-2. Though he's ranked number 2, the experience is definitely teetered towards, you know, Mitch. But when you take a peek at Valentin, he's at underdog. They've had Parker Porter, who's in the UFC. They've had Matt Bissett. You know, they got some killers down. Carlos Candelario. You know, so they got some killers down there. So
And he
make
had
no
an
mistake
extensive-
about it. Valentin's coming in, rip roaring, ready to go. And we talked about it earlier. You normally wouldn't see in years past the number 1 versus number 2. They'd be avoiding each other. They'd both play the whole, maybe we should train together game. You know, one would hide themselves in one promotion and one would hide themselves in another promotion. You know, so hats off to both guys. And I'm stoked. I'm definitely bummed out that the fight with McLean didn't happen back in November. But, you know, he wasn't actually in my DMs, like signing up, being like, yo, don't give that fight to anybody else. I'm coming back in January. So it kind of made my decision easy. Like, we're going to the original plan, which is Valentin. But Casey Norton put a good case in.
I was just going to bring his. I mean, but as far as Casey, doesn't Casey Norton and Justin kind of cross train, or they're affiliated, Nick Newell and Underdog and that kind of thing? Or they don't give a fuck?
No, he was throwing his name in potentially for Mitch. as
Oh,
an
okay.
opponent for Mitch.
Okay.
You know, again, those guys, like, so you know Nick Newell has his own school. You know Jeff Haddad has his own school. Then Underdog with Russell Leak and the Bissett crew. But they're also close and also so friendly. Like, I don't know who actually trains together, who doesn't train together.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, they might train together, or they might have trained together.
Well, here, look, Mike, here's something that will probably say it. Justin Valentin did fight one of his last win was against what's it, Fiore? What was the kid's name? He's out of Newell's gym, a 125, a really stud of a kid, top 5, I think.
Tim Flores.
Flores.
Yeah, there we go.
So he is from Newell's gym. So
Well, oddly enough, Tim Flores is from FAA Springfield.
yeah,
Nick Newell's FAA Connecticut.
yeah, that I confuse them two all the time.
So, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, listen, the guys want to fight. People want to fight and prove that they're the best in New England and prove that they belong. I think that's the other narrative. Like, we're not trying to get to the UFC. We're trying to get there and compete in the UFC. And I think that's the other narrative that we're going to start seeing, you know, coming up with these guys fighting these tough fights early in their careers.
Well, Mike, to bring back Mr. Casey Norton, do you think he will be the next, you know, if he doesn't get a fight before then, or, you know, decides to, you know, get some work earlier, would he be the next for the title shot, whoever comes out of this, you know, victory?
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, I think Casey Norton's fighting for Reality Fighting for their flyweight title, I think, against Harrison Bonfiglio.
Oh, so he's already set. Right.
So they're fighting on January 6th. You know, in this sport, crazy shit happens. Like, every time I think I've seen it all, something new happens. So who knows? You know, Casey could be in line. Absolutely. I mean, he's definitely in line. He's called for the guys. So, if anything happened with this matchup, we could slide him in. If the winner wants to fight Casey definitely earned it. He took out 4-0 Joe Poirier, and he made it look easy in his last fight with Cage Titans. That was an impressive performance. The only little knock was he had an issue. He came in 2 pounds heavy, but that was the first time, I believe, in his career. So I don't think it's a long-term issue. It's just a little hiccup. And maybe that has to do with the fact that he was fighting so far away from home. If you look at Casey, he did fight in Maine, but, he's a guy that usually fights a little closer to home. So maybe he just has to work that out. But, yeah, man, I was a huge fan of Casey. Came in, all smiles. It was a pleasure to work with. He has a home with us whenever he's ready. He goes handle business at Reality. And start taking out some more flyweights.
Excellent, my man. Anything else we want to cover here?
I talk to him all the time.
See you tomorrow, boss.
I mean, well, all right. So, Mike, let's. I talked to Andy about Andy. You never get rest. You must be thinking fight. We're about 7 weeks out from this event coming up, first of the year. It must be all over your mind. He's like, oh no,
Hey, I mean, it is, but
not yet.
we're not restless yet.
Yes. Mike, looking at Tapology, you already have your other card in March already set. When does everything start? I mean, you leaked a lot of shit out tonight, but when does the promo start coming out as far as like the other fighters and getting that stuff out? I know you like to get that stuff out early and really, get it for the fans, man. When does that start really, hitting the train tracks?
So oddly enough, all these beans that we've been dropping are kind of fights that just kind of were already in talks or in the works. I really haven't heavily hit the pavement with hitting up schools and getting their full list of fighters who are available. We're at 8 or so fights right now, and this week, we're 8 weeks out or a little under 8 weeks out. So this is the week that I'll really start hammering the schools, seeing who's ready, and putting together the final touches, filling out the card. I got to meet with Jerry Muse this week. We got Zach DiSabatino, who will be fighting on this card that I'm going to hammer out his guy, Miguel Sabesin. And then, the amateurs, those kind of come together right after that. As for promotional stuff, today, all day, I was working on the new poster. The new poster we should probably drop tomorrow or Friday. Tickets are going on sale Friday, so my goal is to drop tickets and the poster and everything on Friday. We had a meeting today. We're going to launch a shop so you can buy Cage Titans merchandise before the holidays.
Nice.
We're going to be doing a special for tickets if you buy them for Christmas. That will be dropping on Friday. But yeah, so by the end of the week, you're going to see the poster design and all that stuff. And then you're going to see us ramping it up. This show, because we have some local talent that we can get to both sides. We're going to be hitting up Lally's gym. We're going to hit up Valentin. We're going to hit up Mitch. We're going to hit up Giannetti, so we can kind of get some more interview type stuff. I think we're going to bring back the media day, this fight card, where we're going to have the fighters come on one day in particular and have media members there, take their photos. So yeah, that's, it's tough. This is really difficult. We just had Thanksgiving. Christmas is in 2 weeks. I told all the fighters, by Christmas, I want to have everybody's matchups set in stone, which would be a month out. So by the end of this week, beginning of next week, the amateurs, everybody should be matched up. By the end of this week, the poster will be designed and dropped with tickets. Then we have the year-end awards. We'll
wait until Andy gets back from the bathroom, and then we'll leave off with the end of the year awards and when that's going to come out and all that. How you vote on it. You guys, come to the winners of it. But we'll wait until Andy comes. But Mike, I just want to congratulate you on a fucking great year.
Yes.
Listen to your podcast on Monday, raising the bar. It's incredible. You don't think you can raise it anymore. And, you're flying fighters in, tough fighters in to take on fighters around here. That hasn't really happened in the past. People don't want to spend the money to bring these fighters in. We're running out of fighters to fight each other. I mean, in New England, we're running out of fights, and you're bringing guys in, really top notch guys to challenge. Some of our fighters they're on the edge of making it to the big time that need these kind of matchups, and you're doing it for them.
Well, I'm big into, like loyalty and guys sticking around. As I've mentioned before, we don't sign contracts. So if you see guys that are fighting for cage signs every time, that's because they chose to do that. I don't have a piece of paper that forces them to fight for me. But I think in return for those guys is that they know if they compete for us and stick with us, we will bring them in the fold and we will keep them active. We will keep them busy. We don't tell them, oh, there's no one local to fight you, so sorry, you're not fighting this fight card. We'll go out and find somebody to fight them. So I think it's the trust level that they have in us and the fact that, we're willing to keep them busy. And we know we'll do whatever we can to get these guys busy and get them the amount of fights. Because, listen, we're not the end game for some of these fighters, and I know that. I'm not delusional. The Cage Titans isn't the world title. Like, the UFC is the world title. Let's be real. And, that's the goal for a lot of these fighters. And I'm going to help them get there by just keeping them active, keeping them busy. And if that means flying guys in, that's what we'll do. And that's just my commitment to them. They commit to me, and I commit to them. It's a beautiful relationship that I appreciate with a lot of the fighters that we have.
Awesome, my man.
People love being involved. People love being in it.
You see the love from everywhere.
And I will tell you this, I appreciate y'all. Congrats, but I also congratulations to you on all your dedication and hard work. It's a thankless job at times, and it's harassing fighters that get them to call in, and they say they're going to call in, and they don't. It's a tough side of the business that you do, and I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. So thank you, because a lot of guys have come and gone. Like, you're in a very much similar situation to like I am. Like, you've seen the new flavor of the week pop up on a podcast. You could probably name them all that have come and gone,
and then go away.
Where you are left standing. In over 13 years, I see a lot of that happen too. And I sit back sometimes, and you forget that, and you kind of have to smile. And sometimes in the privacy of your own home, pat yourself on the back. You don't want to be boisterous, but pat yourself on the back and be like, wow, look at this, man. A lot of people come, a lot of people go. They've all tried to do what we do. And someone like you, here you are standing all these years later. So even if you're delving into other things, I think that's just an evolution of yourself, and good job.
Awesome, my man.
Can't kill
Thank you
them.
so much for that. I think it has to do with, passion and treating it more as a hobby than as it's going to get you, you know what I mean? Things will come to you. Good things come to you. They will. But, the percentage,
It really is.
the percentage of you getting any farther than the regional level as far as media is a huge gap there. So you got to have fun with it. You got to have passion, and you got to be in the lane that, you can have fun with. And I found my lane, and it's just good stuff, man. I got people like you, Andy, fighters, to always have content and talk to, man. It's all about just wanting to jab and talk and learn about people.
Talk about what we like.
You know what I mean?
What else would you be doing on a Wednesday night? Shooting the shit at the bar with your friends about fights. So now you're doing it in front of the camera.
Exactly. Last thing, Mike, we're going to leave off with, the end of the year awards, all that. I know you talked extensively about it on Monday, but tell the people who might not have watched the show what's going on with that, if they can vote, when is this all happening, and when is the results going to come out?
Yeah, so for the last, I want to say 6 or 7 years, Cage Titans, we've been doing year-end awards, and it's had some great success. I mean, it's really a nice way to kind of look back at the year and honor the people that have really laid it on the line inside the cage. So this upcoming Monday, we will be releasing all the nominee videos, and then immediately following the nominee videos, the link will go live for voting. You'll be able to go on there, do a ballot, and submit your ballot. I'll be honest, it's not a clear-cut exact science. Obviously the ballots are considered.
It's for interaction.
Then likes and comments are considered. Then we have a panel that we kind of do where I think in the years past, you've been part of the panel. We've asked people to be a part of a panel that like we kind of hand select that really know or been to a lot of the fights that have seen them firsthand. Because we don't want it to just turn into a popularity contest where you have the most followers, then of course you're going to win every award.
Yep.
So we do take it into consideration, and it does make up a percentage of the vote. But then we have a panel, and then we have our internal Cage Titans panel. So it's kind of three arms that kind of come together. But overall, long story short, the nominee videos are going up on Monday, followed by voting, and then we'll announce the winners to be determined. You will probably do it on a Table Titans. We kicked around the idea of doing it the week of the next Cage Titans, which would be January 27th. But there's a lot of stuff going on Fight Week already, so I don't know if we want to throw one more thing on top of us. So, the following Monday after we release the nominees is Christmas. So we're going to figure out maybe we'll do a special edition Table Titans on like a Tuesday or something. But we'll figure that out. But either way, be on the lookout for the nominee videos on Monday. And, the voting will be there.
Awesome, my man. Last thing, Mike, you mentioned tickets going on sale for the January card. When is that? Did you say Friday or
Friday?
Right.
So fine, I'll drop you one more bean, and Nick's gonna be mad. We're gonna be doing a ticket thing for this upcoming holiday season. Tickets are gonna go on sale for January 27th, this upcoming Friday. And in addition, if you purchase your ticket for January 27th, you'll automatically get a free hall pass with every purchase. So we're going to be releasing that on Friday, but don't tell anybody, Domenico.
All right, no one's watching at all. All Cage Titans fans.
Don't be telling anybody. That's our secret for Friday. We're going to be dropping that video on Friday.
Awesome, Mike. Well, last thing from me is this Monday night is my last card game of the season. As far as that's why I can't make it to Cage Table Titans
Card
shows.
game.
I play in a high-low jack league.
Oh, all right.
Every week. I play with my son and my boss and shit like that. So this is the last week, and I am taking the next season off because I'm sick of all the fucking people I play cards with. They're all cheaters. They all fucking do signals.
They're all
I'm sick of
degenerates.
it,
They
and
do?
I'm
They
fucking-
cheat?
They're all cheaters.
Jesus.
Even my son.
Why
They
don't
all
you learn to
fucking
cheat? You should cheat too.
I yell at my partner all the time. You suck. So I got to take some time off. So Mike, I will. Maybe we can do that hot wing hot take.
Love it.
before the
Love
next
it.
the next card.
See
we
how
can do
uncomfortable
something
you
like
could get,
that, so-
Steve? We could watch Steve squirm in his chair.
Yeah, but listen, I am no longer media calling the shots anymore. I
you're
am
no more
just
guys.
a room podcast, so I can say what the fuck I want.
That's it.
It's a beautiful thing. People say that to me. When you're done with Cage Titans, you should write a book, like all the fights that I wish I could have made. Who was a diva? Who wasn't a diva? Who did I like to work with? Who did I like to work with? I like to work with everybody. Wink, wink. Like, there's definitely some fun stories I would have for a book after Cage Titans if I could say what I wanted. But you will finally be able to say what you want, and you'll able to say armbar Marty Navis. That was probably the craziest. Actually, you know what? Speaking about hot wing hot take, I gotta say this. Yeah, I didn't think about it earlier, but it was another 2023 moment that you asked me, like, what was something that stand out? The fact that Cage Titans was on BetMGM
Yes.
and we got picked up. I gotta say, like, when I first started Cage Titans, 15 years ago, I thought I was gonna do one show and never do it again. And then to see, I'm not a gambler, but to pop something open and see something that we created on such a prestigious site of like BetMGM, like on such a large platform, it was kind of cool. I will say, I definitely got some giggles when I saw that. I was like, "Oh shit, look at us, we're on here."
Definitely cool.
So that was another cool moment, and I think that was a cool factor for some of the fighters. A lot of the fighters were definitely into it. Some of them liked the odds, some of them didn't like the odds, but I think that it showed kind of a progressional step for Cage Titans that we're in that realm, because right now, Bellator, UFC, I think PFL, I don't see any other regional promotions being on platforms like that. And after our first event that we were on BetMGM, they actually shut down the site from taking bets because they called us the following day and said that they never seen so much action and they didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah, they didn't expect it.
I remember that night we were watching our bets online, and it just shut off. It was like, what's going on here?
Yeah. So
Crash
they
the server.
They told us after 2 shows ago that like they were seeing higher bets like coming in, more action coming in that like on par with like Bellator and PFL stuff. So they were very happy with it. We're looking forward to maybe turning that into a little more formal of a partnership. This was all a trial for this past year. It was they thought it was cool. They wanted to pick it up and kind of kick the tires, and I think we delivered. Similar to Spectation Sport, was kind of a trial run this year, and I think that we've done some great work with those guys. So in 2024, hopefully we'll see some more things going.
Wow, he keeps bringing these things up. I'm like, I keep forgetting because
Yeah,
there's so many
it's been a good year.
things that happen.
Exactly.
It's like
You don't
fucking
even know.
Spectation, fucking
Don't
the
even
betting. It's like,
know.
holy shit.
Fun year.
So
Fucking new lighting. Was the lighting rig this year? The new lighting rig?
Ooh,
I
was
think
it
it was
this
this
year?
year. I
Think
think
so.
Was it this year?
Hold on, I have a video
we were
from
talking
when
about it.
I think it was last year.
Is it?
I got a video the first time we ever did it.
Yeah, I don't remember
let me
when
see
it was, but I remember the first time we did it, we had the manual lifts. I thought you were going to have a heart attack. You were like threatening people away from you because you had to do it yourself. You were like, I've got to do it.
I'll get it going.
Yeah, Andy knows. He was like, "Stop it," and I'm like, "No, man." I need
You
this,
were like red in the face. I'm like, you're sweating pure monster right now. And there's 9 million things to do. We could take care of it. You're like, I've got to be the one. You've got to be involved in every little...
Yeah.
Well, I've been to fights
he
before.
pushes those buttons.
I've been to
He's the
fights where
controls it.
he's choosing seats for people, having people scoot
the
down.
usher.
Yeah, so everyone
usher.
can.
Yeah.
That's the real thing.
He's
you know?
doing it all.
No task.
So I honestly, for 2024 or even beyond, that might be one thing that I have to put on a list. Like, I feel over the past few years, and I'm not as accessible, and I'm not as speedy as responding. And it always hurts me, so I think that's something that either I have to accept as we grow, or try to make more time. Because like I would say, the one fault that I feel like I've had is the response time. Like when I see my response time on Facebook, it's like, you haven't responded to this person in 4 days, and it's like, shit. But I got these guys who haven't responded to in 7 days. So I got to get to the 7-day guys before I go to the 5 days. So that's one thing that I'd like to get better at. I know that sometimes I have my coaches and stuff like that I talk to. They like, you're so hard to get in touch with. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get better. But as Tommy just said, I'll be at shows sitting people.
Yeah.
I'm designing the poster. I'm creating our website. Like it really is. I'm doing a lot of things.
I think Mike, you're spoiling people. They think they think there's like 10 of you. It's not a bad thing because you make them feel comfortable and shit. But
yeah. But even with you, Steve, I used to say to you all the time, like, listen, I promise you, I'm not missing resharing your stuff because I don't purposely. Like, I just don't see everything. I don't look at all my notifications. Yeah. My freaking notifications, I haven't looked at in probably months. So if you really need me, message me. And then what I tell you, message me twice if I don't. So, I'm not opposed to being that guy that, like, some guys would be pissed if they text you and you don't respond. Yeah. And they send you, like, question mark. Send me the question mark. Bump it to the top of my list. That's my disclaimer for today.
I got the emoji like that. I got this emoji.
Yeah.
That's what I said all the time. All right, Mike, man, we're going to let you go, and I'm going to, just talk to Andy for 5 minutes at the end of the show. You mentioned Monday, Table Titans, big night.
Tune in. We got a lot of news to drop.
And I appreciate you tonight for coming on, as always, and, dropping beans, man. It's
good beans.
It helps the show. Mm-hmm. People know you're going to come on and give some info, and I appreciate the love and you giving that to me. So thank you so much.
Well, man, thank you guys. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Steve. Andy, I'll probably talk to you tomorrow.
Andy, fuck you, he says.
In like 10 minutes.
Later, boss.
You're cool. You're cool. Fuck you. I'm out.
All right, man. You have a good night. Thank
Later,
you,
Mike.
Michael.
Take it easy.
That's awesome.
Good shit.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Oh,
What more thing. I'm like, you know what you're doing. You say one more thing.
Well,
It's-
that's Steve's thing. Whenever Steve says
love
one more thing for an hour.
Yeah, no, it happens.
I
and
can't.
it's all right,
Like,
but that's just
there's
Polvere
so
as
much
well.
more to talk about. He brought up fucking, MGM. He
Yeah.
brought
Oh,
up
yeah,
freaking
man.
all this stuff.
I was
It
gonna-
really was a monumental year. It really, truly
Jesus.
was. The more this grows from a passion project into just it's always been legitimate. It's always been
It's a good one.
at the heart. Like all of us are so invested. Just at the core, from Nick to Joe Leonard to Polvere to me to Brandy to all the fighters to Tyler Pimento who comes in.
Yep.
we're all involved because we fucking want
And
to
it
be
really
there. And
shows-
We love
it-
this sport.
it
We
shows.
love the people
It
involved
shows with
in
the
it. We
product
love
you
the
guys
shit.
give.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
So,
there's nothing else like that show in the hall when it's jamming and everyone's pumped. Like I said, on a hot summer night, everyone's sweating in the best way ever. It's just full of fucking.
I love it. It's the best. And this year we definitely hit peaks that when I got involved I didn't really imagine. Just
Yeah.
the day night doubleheaders,
Well,
the
we-
total
we-
pro cards.
We spoke about 5 years me being here. You've been with Cage Titans about around the same, right?
2016 was the first one that I did. Yeah.
Well, even longer.
Yeah, I
And you
fought in
commentated.
2015.
That's
No,
right. I was doing the podcast
commentating, yeah.
earlier, so
I was doing
yeah.
it in 2016. Yeah, that's when I started commentating. November 2016 was the first one Richie and I did.
Now he's got his fingerprints in the Cage
He's the
Titans
guy.
Hall of Fame right there in the cement.
Hey, dang,
Wow.
hey.
Richie
You are
was telling us
integral
the story about
part
how you
of
guys
it.
just decided to do commentary. It wasn't scheduled, kind of
Wasn't
just
scheduled,
happened.
Wasn't planned.
Yeah.
It happened on a day's notice. I was going to go down there to watch anyways. I was there the night before to watch Richie fight, and then I had to go back home for something, and then drive back down to Plymouth the next day. Richie had a hotel, and there was going to be a couple of other guys that were going to commentate, and they fell out of it. And
Didn't
I
want
got
to
a
do
phone
it.
call, and just, hey, you want to commentate? I'm like, sure. I only know our guys that are fighting. I don't know anybody else, but I'll go babble on about fights. Why not? Get down there, and
The rest is history.
the rest is history. But the funniest part about that is I get down there, and the clothes that I was like wearing, I had a sky blue button down. I was wearing khakis and I had some shoes on, and drive right down there. It was a nice day, so I didn't really need a jacket or whatnot. I get down there. Richie's been down there in the hotel, and get out of my car, and he's wearing the exact same outfit. What? Identical outfit. And he doesn't have a single chain. Like the exact same color shirt, the exact same color pants, same shoes. We're just like a part. There's nothing we could do. We had to
Frickin'
just-
frack.
We had to just go. It was like, did you play it? No, it wasn't played. It just was. But it was the
funny.
strangest coincidental moment.
Fucking
Like the
That
fighters
could've
trying to
possibly
dress up,
happened.
you know.
Yeah, it was a riot.
The
And then,
least
but
offensive.
The rest is history.
the rest
Just-
is history.
and he's kind of been. We've had so many people in the rotation of the color commentators, and he kind of took a back seat this time, and was just an extra set of legs and hands and eyes for Polvere. And he was saying just how ridiculous amount of movement that goes in.
Yes.
Say Polvere's the one seating people.
Yeah.
So now it's at the stage where if Richie does the play-by-play, and I'm taking a night off or whatnot, then what can I do to usher people?
Oh yeah,
through
you'll
the
be there.
fun?
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
like the day-night doubleheader this year was the first time Polvere had to run to the bank for like 20 minutes. He left for like a fight, fight. And before he left, he came to me and was like, all right, you're in charge. And I shit my pants. I just did. What? Like,
How would I go to the bank?
And so in 20 minutes, I only fucked like 2 things up. That was it. It was I put out like 2 small fires, fucked 2 things up, but it was.
That's it.
It's
All right.
yeah.
Like we say,
The show went on.
It works out. It works itself out, and it's always the shows just keep topping each other. Well, Andy, we'll be here for another 3 hours.
Oh,
but
we absolutely
Could be.
could.
the last thing
Trying to
I
get
want to
to
leave off with.
Trying to get the Ricks and Woonsocket, Rhode Island.
have
I was
an
going to
open
say
mic.
it.
Yeah, it's just an
Something,
open
right?
mic.
So
But
that was
honestly,
what I
this
was-
is
that's what I'm
this
leaving
one in
off with, your
Woonsocket.
comedy.
I love all the open mics around in Worcester, the Blackstone, and Hotel Vernon, Providence. You got Jake and Johnny's. You got Pub on Park down in Cranston. There, there's so many great ones. Bomb Shelter up in Lowell.
It's my neck of the woods. Low.
Tempo Bistro and Waltham, and where I live in Mass, it's pretty convenient for me to get to all the spots. But Rick's in Woonsocket is where you cut your teeth.
Okay.
It is the most degenerate crowd, and the most degenerate
what I like.
town,
That's
the
a
most
comedy I
degenerate
like.
state of the nation. It really is. It's you're getting heckled. You're gonna bomb so bad, you're gonna
You're gonna
just
get tough.
grow leather. And when you do win that crowd over, you're just impervious to any other obstacles you come. Where yeah, this sucks. I'm bombing, but it's not Rick's.
Woonsocket's a tough town.
Yeah.
I broke my hand on a guy's face in Woonsocket.
Couple of Woonsocket rockets.
It's certainly an interesting spot. I do enjoy it, but they got great comics that go through. Dan Martin, who's a headliner, Andrew Ballesteri, who's hosting tonight. He's a guy who's been on a bunch of my shows. The Flying Jew, Lee Sayat, he goes down there. So any Wednesday night that you guys get out of here early, go down there, check out some.
Oh,
of the
I will,
levels of
because
comedy
we get out of here at like 9 o'clock.
Because you want to get some comedians in here. Rick's is the
That's the
spot
place to
where
go.
That's a good approach.
Because I usually go to like to a karaoke after
That's a good
this.
resource, dude.
I'm gonna go there.
Go to Rick's. You got Jake and Johnny's Lounge on Atwell Avenue in Providence on Thursday night. That's a John Peralta, Mike, Steve
Peralta, he's awesome.
Steve DiNuccio
also,
runs that one. So you know these names, but they got a great open mic where you get a rotation of guys that are up there for the first time, first month at it, and guys that have been doing it 10, 15 years that'll go up there, all in the same spot. So it's
cool.
It's a great, fun little scene, and we're all in it together, just like the fighters. But
I'm gonna use Andy as my meter, and like Andy.
Yeah,
guys
comedy
reached out
guys.
to me.
Yeah, we don't
This
want
comedian
scrubs in
about
here.
wanting to come on. Tell me if it's
No, you gotta be
matter.
funny.
It's like we spoke before to leave off on that. Like I want guests on here, but I've paid my dues. I don't want just someone off the street who's having it. I want someone that's actually a working, has a craft and has done it.
Hey, there's a scene out here. There's
You
a
know?
good
So
scene
that's what I
developing
want.
comedians.
You know what I mean?
And there always was like Boston, New York, and probably Rhode Island's roped into that too. It's kind of just that area.
No, there's plenty of them all around. Plenty of them in Rhode Island, and I know a lot of them that'd be willing to come in here and be happy to shoot the shit in the room. No doubt. I love that you're expanding. I think that it's a great idea for you. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun interviewing comedians, musicians, and integrating them with the fighters that you have in here, and kind of just all the obscure arts that you're involved in. This is what it's about. The new technological age.
cool.
You got a dope setup. This is as cool of a hang as possible. You got the drum set in the corner, all the memorabilia all around. Badass.
Yeah, it's not
Keeps
bad
getting
for a
awesome.
little fucking room, right?
The room
That room,
prevails.
man.
The room
I love it.
prevails, and I
always
am
will.
always happy to be back for sure.
yeah.
Hey, it was great being here. with you
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
tonight.
the
Man.
first time you guys
Glad we
met,
kicked him in. Yeah.
face to
Always a
face,
pleasure,
man.
man.
So
Yeah,
awesome.
man.
Anytime, Andy. Like I said, I'm going to be having some comedians on, not on Wednesday night when he can, like maybe a Tuesday or a Thursday if you're around.
Yeah, dude.
I'll let you know. Hey, Andy, I got this guy coming down alone or this woman coming down alone. You want to come down? And
Yeah, I usually
Shit.
try to get down to Providence on Thursdays. I usually hit Rick's and Woonsocket on Wednesdays. It's the one that's closest to my house. But is it 9:45? Oh shit!
Yeah, we got to get out of
I
here.
gotta-
All right, with that said, follow us next
Yeah.
week. We will have a comedian on. Maybe I'm going to talk to Andy about him.
Why, who do you got?
I'll let you know.
Oh, all right.
As soon as we get off. We're out of here.
Okay, later.
Yo, thank you all. Take it
Later.
easy. Peace.